Welcome back to The Paper Pursuer. Continuing on with show notes for episode 1192. The next article is on Redstate.com titled Stunning. Dan Bongino reveals FBI 302 for May 2017. FBI team tells Rosenstein the president is not a suspect. By Elizabeth Vaughn, February 28th, 2020. I nearly fell out of my chair when I watched Dan Bongino's podcast on Thursday. Bongino began with a great big hat tip to the well-known but anonymous lawyer who posts on Twitter as Technofog for this tactical nuke. It's been clear for a long time that the FBI and Robert Mueller knew early on that President Trump had done nothing wrong. For example, we know that after the FBI's January 2017 interview with dossier author Christopher Steele's primary subsource, they had a pretty good idea that it was all a lie. The FBI interviewed the subsource 2 additional times, in March and in May 2017, and by then they were sure of it. We also learned from the testimony of former FBI lawyer Lisa Page that in May 2017, when the FBI turned their counterintelligence investigation over to Robert Mueller, they still had no evidence that Trump had colluded with the Russians to win the election. The FBI had been investigating Trump for 10 months at this point. Until now, we've never seen any of those involved actually admit it. In the following excerpts from an FBI 302 report, summary written by an FBI agent following an interview, it is made clear 3 times that the FBI did not believe President Trump was a suspect. Source of information, The Dan Bongino Show, episode 1191, February 27, 2020. 1. FBI agents confirmed to Acting Attorney General Rod Rosenstein on May 10, 2017, that the president was not a suspect. 2. This was also Rosenstein's impression from his initial April 28 briefing he received from then-Director Comey. 3. Rosenstein elaborated that based on his May 10th briefing, there appeared to be no evidence the president was involved personally. Can't get over this. Okay, so FD 302 excerpt, FBI interview of Rod Rosenstein, May 23, 2017. And it says emphasis mine, as in the writer of this article. Events of May 10th, 2017. Rosenstein first contacted Robert Mueller on May 10th at 7:34 a.m., but of course he was thinking about the issue of appointing a special counsel before that time. Then at 11:30 a.m., Rosenstein attended a previously scheduled meeting with the prosecutors assigned to the FBI's Russia investigation. This was the first regularly scheduled meeting on the matter. During this first meeting, and in light of all the controversy surrounding the investigation, Rosenstein declared, "In my acting capacity as the Attorney General, leave no stone unturned," or words to that effect. However, those assigned to the case are career prosecutors, so in his personal opinion, telling them to do so was unnecessary because he knew they would do the right thing. During his May 10 briefing, the team confirmed for Rosenstein that the president was not a suspect. This was also Rosenstein's impression from his initial April 28 briefing he received from then-Director Comey. Carl Gattis may have attended this briefing, as well as several prosecutors. Rosenstein elaborated that based on his May 10 briefing, there appeared to be no evidence that the president was involved personally. Rosenstein inquired whether they needed additional resources and was informed there was no such need. Any reasonable person would assume that would have been the end of the Trump-Russia collusion story, but it wasn't. So why did Rosenstein appoint a special counsel to investigate President Trump, a man he knew was innocent? Bongino's analysis. Do you understand the tactical nuke this is? Rosenstein knows, he's been briefed by the FBI as early as April, that this case is total garbage and that President Trump is not a suspect in this thing, and they refuse to clear him. Why? Because the Mueller probe has one purpose, to nail Donald Trump. On May 10, Mueller is appointed to investigate Trump for a scandal that doesn't exist. It was always an effort to accumulate enough political damage on Donald Trump to hopefully impeach him, to get him out of office before this thing resulted in some denouement at the end. Now you have nailed it down. Rosenstein knew that what Mueller was going to do. That's why he appointed Andy Weissman. Andy Weissman having a reputation for, at best, shady legal tactics. They appointed him knowing he'd keep this case open and knowing Trump wasn't a suspect the entire time. He ends the segmentary asking, "What else do you need to hear? I believe this is the single most extraordinary revelation we've heard in the last 3 years." That's nuts. Wow. I'm going to move on to, let's see, too long a one. This is a bit of a different article. It actually comes from BPR, Business and Politics. It's titled Dan Bongino Torpedoes Mediaite at CPAC. Sorry, you guys are total a-holes to me, by Samantha Chang, February 28th, 2020. Former Secret Service agent Dan Bongino unleashed on the left-wing blog Mediaite for being total a-holes and douchebags by constantly smearing him with fake news stories. The fiery exchange occurred in the hallways at the Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC. Oh man, I wanted to go so bad. Wednesday, Mediaite blogger Zachary Petrizzo said he approached Bongino and introduced himself. According to the Mediaite writer, Bongino replied, "Nothing personal, but your site sucks. Sorry, you guys are total a-holes to me, like total douchebags. Constant bulge." Dan Bongino is a best-selling author, podcaster, and Fox News contributor who was a Secret Service agent for 12 years. He was annoyed that the left-wing website repeatedly writes negative hit pieces about him. "I probably make more money than your entire website," Bongino said. "I don't want to be treated like a D-word. Show some respect." Anyone who has ever read Mediaite knows that the blog is left-wing and extremely anti-Trump. Even though it claims to cover the media industry, its bias is obvious in its headlines and coverage. Bongino also tore into Mediaite editor-in-chief Aidan McLaughlin. Aidan is all the time, Bongino reportedly said, and you could tell him I said that. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why? If you've got something of substance you disagree with, then take me on instead of smearing me. Mediaite S-words on me all the time for no apparent reason. After Mediaite blogged about the exchange, Bongino trolled it on Twitter, writing, "There are few things more glorious than getting a fake news outlet to print a headline on their own site about what a-holes they are. This was a bucket list item. Box check." BizPac Review's managing editor Michael Kirk snapped this photo of Bongino at his CPAC booth before the dust-up with Mediaite. So on this article, there's a couple, embedded photos, and it shows the BPR Conservative News. Our managing editor, Michelle Kirk, is at CPAC 2020 and saw Dan Bongino speaking truths at his booth. So he's doing his show there. Here's BizPac's review. Michelle Kirk with CPAC Chairman Matt Schlapp. Schlapp was applauded by millions of conservatives for disinviting Senator Mitt Romney from this year's CPAC. President Trump is the keynote speaker at the event, which drew 10,000 people last year. Schlapp and Romney said Romney showed his true colors by voting with Democrats to convict President Trump on sham charges at the Senate impeachment trial. Therefore, Schlapp said Mitt's conservative card had been revoked. "We won't credential him as a conservative," Schlapp said earlier this month. Fittingly, Romney was booed at CPAC this week. The theme of this year's CPAC conference is America versus Socialism. It's a reference to the recent surge of socialism, a failed ideology that's being aggressively championed by Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and the far-left faction of the Democratic Party. Dan Bongino told Fox News host Jesse Waters that he cannot believe that the Democrats are promoting a socialist as its presidential nominee. "We live in the United States of America, the freest country in the history of humankind," Bongino said. "Are we ready right now for the likelihood that a socialist is going to be nominated for a major party for the presidency? Not only a socialist, but a fraud, a millionaire socialist, a limousine liberal socialist who owns 3 homes." Bongino continued, "This guy is a step away from running from the presidency of the United States, advocating for a system that has snuffed out the lives, fortunes, and wealth of hundreds of millions of people. This is not a joke anymore. This is insane." It is insane. It's absolutely insane. Who the heck? Oh my gosh, I can't wrap my mind around it. And then you have the whole thing with Bernie giving his wife a job, and then when they were, I guess, dating, and then her getting a raise, and other friends of his getting jobs. This is when he was in Vermont, of course. And then using campaign finances to buy his latest book. Oh, I know. Oh, he doesn't have 3 houses. He has 2 houses and a summer camp, because that's what they do up there. Oh my gosh. Oh, and of course everyone knows about his personal jet flights, right? What is it, $1 million last quarter alone? Was it more? I can't remember. Anyway, that's the end of this video, and looks like there might be 2 more articles for the next one. See you over there.